In this lesson, we'll look into more of the keyframe editing tools that are found in the F-Curve Manager. Let's go ahead and select the main body object, right-click and head over to Show F-Curves. From there, I'll go to the F-Curve menu and turn off Show All Tracks, and we can go ahead and work with the pitch axis. I'll go ahead and press H to zoom into the F-Curve. So the menu we're going to focus on in this lesson is going to be the key menu. Find a lot of our interpolation tools are found here, and we could also access a lot of these tools in the key properties under the Attributes Manager. So to get started, go ahead and select this key on 31, and we'll start with our spline types. These are just presets for our tangents. So let's say as we're animating, we come across a key with a word angle in its tangent. You'll find this at times when working on more complex performances. So if you ever want to go ahead and smooth this back out, you can go ahead and set the spline type to soft. We could also add ease in and ease out to this key. It's going to break our tangent and flatten out the end based off of the tool that we use. So let's say if we want to add an ease in to this keyframe, going to spline types, we can go ahead and choose ease in, and now the animation will slow in to this key. So ease out is going to affect the opposite half. It's going to go ahead and zero out that angle. But again, the tangent will remain broken. And a good indicator of that is by looking at the end of the tangent just to know if it is unified or if it has been broken. Right now with a broken tangent, you can see that the ends are circles. But with that turned off, the ends are now triangles. Now let's say if you're working with a broken tangent and you'd like to go ahead and add ease in and ease out and unify that tangent. Well, it's just a matter of heading over to spline types and using ease. The next tool, zero angle, zero length, you can see that it's going to basically check on those two settings, and that's going to lead to a sharper F-curve, which is great for adding weight to your animation. So in a ball bounce, you might want to use this as your contact key. So the ball hits the surface. And then it will immediately bounce back up. And again, that can be turned off from the key properties. Following that, we have unify. This is going to do exactly what it says. It's going to unify our tangent. But this is great to use if the tangent is broken. We'd simply head over to key, spline types, and use unify to bring those back together, but the tangent will still remain broken. So I'll go ahead and turn off break tangents from the key properties. Next we have our interpolation types, linear, step, spline. And then the following two settings, a good practical use for these two are, first, let's say if we'd like to just affect the value of our key and not adjust the time at all. We like the timing of it. We can go ahead and use lock time. And now we're not able to move horizontally at all, only in the key's value. You could also see that the time parameter has been grayed out. So if we ever want to adjust that time again, we need to go ahead and uncheck lock time or toggle that from the key menu. So lock value, that's going to go ahead and lock down the value of the key so we can only affect its timing. We can turn both on. And of course that's going to lock down this key in time and value, so it's going to remain stuck. We can, however, adjust the tangent of this key. But let's say you have this key locked down in both time and value and you need to go ahead and add some modifications to your performance. You want to make sure that these are unchecked. So if you find that your key's stuck, chances are it's because of those two settings. Next we have auto tangents. This is going to automatically orient the key as we move surrounding keys. So with that turned on, we can go ahead and turn on auto tangents from the key properties or again from that menu. And you can see how the orientation is going to change based off of how we modify the surrounding keys. So with it turned off, of course the orientation is going to remain locked. On our animation path, it's automatically set to auto tangency. And that's not always the best case. If we were to go ahead and turn on auto tangents, you can see how sharp the interpolation is at around that time. So in a case like that, you'd want to uncheck auto tangents and go in and change the arc to improve it using the tangents. And then we have break tangents. Okay, we saw what that does. Can zero the tangent angle. This is basically a way of just locking down the orientation or the angle of our tangent, but we can still go in and adjust the length. Or if you'd like, you can go ahead and lock down the length as well. We can go ahead and turn those off from the key properties. And don't forget about that setting under the spline types to turn off both. Alright, following that, we can go ahead and lock down our tangent angles and lock down the length. So if we just want to affect the length, don't want to adjust the angle at all, we can go ahead and use lock tangent angle. It's going to keep that angle, but now we can go ahead and affect the length. And that next option is going to do just the opposite. We can turn that off from key properties as well. And now the next setting, clamp, this is great for avoiding overshoot in your F-curve. So notice as we take this key that's on 44 right now, if we were to go ahead and remove it out of the min and max range of the keys that surround it, it's going to automatically set the angle of that key to 0. But as we're in between those two keys, we can freely go ahead and adjust the tangency. So again, a great way to avoid overshoot. You'll find that as we come out of that range, we're no longer able to adjust the angle of that key or of that tangent. So another great tool, very useful. And then we have make relative. This is great for breakdown keys if I were to go ahead and choose that. Now notice the key is always going to remain proportional as we affect the keys that surround it. And that can also be turned on and off from key properties. Following that, we can mute a key. So to show you this, I'll head over to the position Y. Go ahead and frame in on the F curve. I'll go to the high point, select that key, and simply go ahead and mute it. Now what's going to happen is we're going to see everything until that key, and then it's going to kind of cancel out what we see after the key until we get to the next key. So to show you that, if we were to hit play, see how the ship does a drastic fall just before it exits because that key has been muted. And we could also unmute it from key properties, which is great. Then we can mirror our keys in X or in time and also in value using mirror Y. So to quickly show you mirror Y, if we were to go ahead and select these two keys, choose mirror Y, it's going to flip the keys around. If you're